What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a special episode of Post Credits Podcast, a show where we are lucky enough to talk about movies with you. This is a very special episode, recorded and posted on the same week as episode 47, The Long Walk in Downton Abbey. So it is recorded on September 18th. 2025. You get posted to podcast services on Friday, I think, September 19th, 2025, to the usual spots: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and then YouTube. If you're listening to us on an audio-only version, feel free to check us out on YouTube as well. You can watch full episodes there or just segments. We have everything time-coded out. We try to snip out some interesting stuff. However you choose to enjoy our content, thank you very much. We couldn't do this without you.
True.
Well, this is a special episode. As Chris and I said before, we're going to do a little bit of a dive into a movie that's doing very well, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle, which I think I said some redundancy there, but
that's all right. It's all right.
That's what's on IMDb, so that's what I'm going to say. So
we are appeasing our English and our American and our Japanese market, which, funny enough, we have a slight Japanese viewer base at times, so that's fine.
We do. I have a friend over there who teaching Japanese who forces his students to listen to this show, so that's part of their grade.
To show them how not to speak in English, I'm guessing.
Exactly. Look at these idiot Americans. They don't do what they do. Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yes. It is the day after my birthday. I am.
Oh my goodness, Chris! Happy birthday!
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Happy 45th.
Yeah, I mean, you wish. I get it, but I will never be older than you. So that's one victory.
Thing. Yeah, but that's a weird thing to boast over someone. I'll never be older than you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but see, you may feel like you're in that seat because you cannot boast that. So I understand why you would say that. But if you were in my position, you would remind me at every turn that we could, whenever it's relevant. So that's fine.
Oh, sure. I think I might have done that. I don't know, but. Let's yeah. So I think this is the first time we're actually, when you have come on the show remote from not in the studio, you've not had a background. I think this is the first time we're actually seeing your background on the show, or at least the viewers are seeing it.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Very much
I think so.
Yeah, this is how my chosen profession, how my work peeps usually get to experience all of this. So I figured, why not the audience today?
All this, that's right.
Yeah, this is what I usually grace my employees with, and they're lucky. They're luckier for it.
Against their will or for their will, I don't know, but however they see it, you definitely keep a very tidy space behind you. So good for you.
It's all about the illusion of tidiness. So
underneath the camera, there's just a bunch of clothes and socks everywhere.
My desk is a landscape of destruction and mayhem. So, but you can't see on my desk, so we're fine.
That's true. It's a nice TV in the background. All right, nice to see your space for once. Nice to see your space. Well, we are here, Chris. We have a duty today. Let's talk about a movie in a very special episode. We're not going to do the pleasantries we always do, the box office. So we're just going to hop right into it.
Cool.
Without any more hesitation. But don't forget, please hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. This is only on YouTube as a bonus to our YouTube listeners. This will not be posted in audio format, so don't worry about that. But it's only available for YouTube, so please subscribe and hit that like button. It does us a lot of good. I'm one of your hosts, Grayson.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, leave a comment when we get everything wrong about this movie. I can't wait.
It's coming, and I'm sure we will. But I'm one of your hosts, Grayson Maxwell, and joining me as he does every week is our lovely co-host, Chris Bond. Chris, what's going on today?
What's going on today is we're talking about Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, and I'm really excited. You said skip our usual pleasantries, but I do want to talk about
an intro. Yeah, that's fine.
And the version I'd like to discuss something that is unique to this movie so far, and that is its box office specifically, and that's because of how it's doing in the box office. So this has, in my opinion, and the opinion of others that I've seen and I talked to, has shattered expectations for what an anime movie has done in the United States, and it surpassed its previous record holder, which was the Demon Slayer Mugen Train film. So this has done much better than its previous one, and that one didn't do bad either. Do you have the numbers handy, Grayson?
I do indeed.
Be able to shout anything out.
So
go ahead and let us know.
This past weekend, It did very well for itself. This past weekend, it
Mhm.
was number one in the box office, in the U.S. box office. It did $70.6 million domestic
Yeah,
for a worldwide total take of 388,455. That's just that's just the first week of debut here in the U.S. That's really
yeah,
incredible. That's
yeah,
really incredible.
yeah. It's impressive, and I can't be happier about it because like for very selfish reasons, I would love to see the anime films that come to our side do do well because I want more of them. And again, like I know that's a selfish reason, but I'm not the only one who wants more of these. So there's and like this just shows that there is a fan base out there that's willing to go out and see these when the appropriate time and care and studios behind these because uh UFO Table is renowned for its animation style and quality and just the caliber that it's able to produce. They've done this before with the Fate series, the Heavens Feel movies. They did a trilogy of movies back then as well for that series, which would still blow some people away now by the animation quality in those films. So as soon as they were set on doing this, that should be drumming up excitement on its own. So it's cool to see this happening. I'd love to see more of these. I don't know if you caught the previews to this
I
film,
did. I did.
but there's a ton of movies that are coming out that are anime movies. Chainsaw Man is a big deal to a lot of people. Probably not as big as Demon Slayer and especially this part of the story, but like that's a big deal. The Jujutsu Kaisen movie is gonna get people, I think, into theaters and stuff too. So just to know that we have these coming down the line, I hope we get to see more on the U.S. because our market will go see these for like the big ones and such too. So
Well,
cool to see.
another movie that we talked about in the past, the Lord of the Rings, what
Hmm.
was it called? Lord of the Rings, about
War of the
Rohirrim.
Rohirrim. Yeah.
It was done in the anime style, very traditional anime style, like DBZ, like all
Hmm.
that stuff in the past. And I expected that to be received a whole lot better than it was. Maybe it's because it was December, people were busy. I
Hmm.
don't know, but it wasn't really received with the fanfare I was thought it was going to be received with. Let
I,
alone the story, people don't like the story, but just the anime
mhm.
style alone, I thought would have drawn people into that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the right story to get people to go, regardless of what style it's in. And again, that fan base is probably a little bit different than what the fan base like going to see a movie like Demon Slayer is going to be. And that those two things combined made just have been why it wasn't as popular as it could have been. Because I mean I enjoyed the animation in that film. The story was okay, but like animation was good in that, and they could do more stories through that vein. I think it'll take the right one for it to like make a decent amount of money for it to be worth it for a studio. It's probably
I would
the thing to
agree.
look
Well,
for.
you think, but something that I didn't really consider, and what I was thinking about while I was watching this, and it's like a little aside, I don't watch this content very often. So
Hmm.
usually, like when we talk about, we have a little pre-show. Chris, Roger, and I, we talk about, well, how much experience you have with this, especially with franchises like The Conjuring or other big franchises or three or four movies in a set. It's like, well, not everyone has time to get caught up. I do. Chris and Roger have families. I know that takes up a lot of time.
Hmm.
But usually I'm the one who's like, okay, well, I'm going over it with them before. Like we talk about this movie, and then these things happen, and just to catch them up. And like this time, I'm completely on the outside.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
as I understand it, there are 4 seasons of this, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then one movie that takes place previous to this film.
Hmm.
So
Yes, that is true.
jumping into this, which I did. Let me tell you, so I watched this twice, and I'll get to that in a minute. However,
Hmm.
it's nuts. It is absolutely nuts. I thought, is this like watching something like, is this like going with your friends to watch the fifth Harry Potter film or sixth Harry Potter film out of eight, having no prior experience? I don't think it is, because there's a lot less going on in those films than
Mm.
this one just has so many names to throw at you and so many things that have happened. And Chris was good enough to provide me with a link that, maybe I'll give it to Roger, and he might post it with the posting of this episode to get caught up.
Hmm.
If you, I don't know, we'll see if that works. But
Yeah.
it was really helpful in understanding a little. Again, it's 30 minutes of throwing really dense information at you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of it actually stuck, but it's some of it. When I heard names, some bells rung in my head when I was
Yeah.
watching this. And
Yeah.
the first time was in IMAX. I'll get to that. The
Yep.
second time was not in IMAX, but I'll get to that in a second. But just to get over the last bit of housekeeping, once again, folks, this is a bonus episode for Post Credits Podcast. a show where we are lucky enough to talk about movies with you. But let's jump into it.
All right.
We've already talked about the explosive box office, which is
Yes.
for any movie in this country, that is very commendable. 70 million opening, that's
Hmm.
commendable.
Oh
More
yeah.
than commendable. Not many movies do that. If you're not Disney or Marvel or another animated kids movie, I just don't see
Hmm.
things doing that massive number,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
which is
70
pretty
is good.
huge.
There's a few movies we've seen recently that like would have loved to have a 70 million opening. You know, they love to have a 70 million total right now. So it's the opening week for our domestic side being 70 is definitely something to note, and that the everyone involved in this work should be proud of. The budget for this I think was only 20 million.
I saw that, and they've more than 10x their money. So
Yeah, that's wild.
I know there's a bit of a fee when you bringing stuff to the
Yeah.
U.S. and getting it, like
Hmm.
you have to, because like re-recording lines for something that's made for a Japanese market and then re-recording, that's not cheap. It's not expensive, but it's also not a no cost thing.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of cost associated with that, and it hiked it up a little bit. That would have been outside the 20 million. That would not have been the production cost. So that would
Okay,
have been
gotcha.
way outside, but nothing like we're not talking like, oh, but that's an additional 10 million,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah.
maybe an additional million at the most
Yeah,
just to
but
get all that
here,
done.
the thing is, even if it was another 10 million, it wouldn't have mattered because how much money this thing's made. So
Sure,
like
and I totally,
they'd have been able
yeah,
to eat that.
of course. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought the first movie paid for all the movies and
Oh yeah.
profit, so this one's just pure
Yeah.
profit, I'm sure too. So,
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I have a lot of questions, but first, can we
Okay.
start? Can we start with? I've now seen the Chainsaw Man trailer 4 times.
Oh yeah.
I don't. What is going on over there? That
That's a whole nother conversation. If you're interested, I mean, that's only got one season. You can catch up to that real quick.
I just don't
So
understand. His head literally turns into a chainsaw. I'm like, what? Does the
yeah,
rule of physics apply in Japanese anime at all?
the
What is
the
going
probably
on
the
here?
best thing for you to do is to let go of physics entirely as a concept if you're going to start watching anime,
Fair. I
because
mean,
while not having physics could be frustrating, as a viewer and someone who wants some realism, you can't do as much cool shit when you have to think about physics. So I think there's just
I
something that
agree.
is out of play.
I agree. And I wanted to bring that up. It's in my notes here. I'm glad you kind of steered us back to this. Is we talked about the Lord of the Rings movie a second ago, and the one thing I noticed in this movie,
Hmm.
this movie does really well. That I think a movie like the live action Lord of the Rings did that the animated one didn't. The War of the Rohirrim is
Hmm.
the visuals were quite striking because it's simple
Yeah,
to do that. For example, when she was in the end, when she was standing against when she was standing against her enemy and she was wearing that all white kind of badass outfit, and like
yeah,
the background's all black because it's night. It's like that's really striking, man.
oh yeah,
That's something that anime does well, and it's something that I've noticed in this movie. They it's almost not that I'm not saying that Hollywood doesn't use that as a part of an everyday production in
oh yeah,
making
yeah,
films, but my goodness, it's done in such a different way with anime.
oh yeah.
I hadn't noticed it before, but
Yeah, yeah.
it really kind of struck me.
Visually striking would be putting it as lightly as you can, probably, because it's no matter if you like this movie, if you're a fan of the series, jumping into it the first time like Grayson is, which I think we need to double back on your IMAX story because I think that's an hilarious thing to let everyone know about. But like whether you're a longtime fan, first time watcher, anything, you cannot watch this movie and say that it looked bad. You cannot say that you didn't think this looked great because the animation quality in this is like it's amazing how good this can look. And I'm jealous of you for getting to see it in IMAX because there were multiple times that my wife and I considered making the drive to see this in IMAX, but we like with how long the movie was and everything like that, it logistically didn't work out. But man, I'm sure this thing looked 10 times better and it looked great in my theater. So it's cool. You did have an IMAX experience, however,
I
it
did.
was sullied a little bit for you the first time around. Why don't you tell the people how your first showing went with this?
I've never come across this before, but then again, I don't watch many non-English spoken films
Mhm.
in that kind of format.
Yeah,
I was like, you know what, I'm gonna, because like Chris and I have been talking about this for a little while, and he's really excited about it. I wouldn't have been excited going into it. So, but like after watching it, I'm like, I kind of dig it in a weird way. The emotion is there. the story is there. But anyway, that's so I did a complete 180 on that. So it's like
Hmm.
I want to see this in IMAX. I saw Japanese spoken with English subs. I thought no problem. I do this all the time.
Yeah.
All of my apps like Netflix and Prime and all that, because my parents use them also and my mom's deaf. The captions are on. They've been on my whole life, but I leave them on for her so she can. I don't. They don't. To me, it's like second nature. However, with this
Yeah.
film, I hadn't considered. So the IMAX theater I went to, the screen it is massive. Like we're
This is a
big
first world
screen.
problem, by the way,
It's a
people.
very first world problem. I think a ticket to this thing was like $42, so more than
Oh,
first world problem. It's
Jesus.
yeah.
God.
So and it was sold out. By the way, it was sold out. I got
Perfect.
one of the
That's
last
cool.
tickets because I was by myself and could pick the one seat that was open. Anyway,
You could ruin someone's night by sitting next to them. Yeah, I get you.
absolutely. So the screen was it was like floor to ceiling, and I hadn't considered what I was going to have to do. And what I was doing was this, because they were talking so fast, and anime, a lot of action happens very quickly or
Oh yeah.
gives the illusion of quick, so you got to pay attention. But I was also trying to read what was going on. halfway
Yeah.
through halfway through I just said, I'm not doing this. I'm just going to enjoy the movie for what I see, listen to the
Okay.
Japanese dialogue, and kind of, because you can, with tonality and how
Yeah.
lines are spoken, you can pick up on some of that.
Hmm.
So I didn't, because like I just got sick of doing this over and over again. I just, it was ruining my experience. It wasn't, I was getting angry and flustered. Not that
Hmm.
not that someone may have enjoyed that. I just didn't enjoy that. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the
Makes
second
sense.
time I watched it, it was it was the furthest experience away. It was a theater that had not been redone since 2004.
Oh, geez.
It was not stadium seating. It was like a gradual. You've been in those, like it's like a gradual incline the further
Yeah.
back you go. It's one of those. I think
Okay.
it used to be an old Carmike Cinemas. I think, given the
Mm.
drapery, but and that was English language, no subs, and
Okay. Yep.
the screen, everything was very viewable in like one
Okay.
eye line. So how different that second viewing was that I actually got the story. How
Yeah, I don't
different
doubt
that
that.
was. Oh my goodness gracious.
Funny enough, you probably should have done it the opposite way, right? Like you probably should have watched it first or second, but like you should have probably watched it in English in IMAX
Absolutely. Well, they
and
didn't
on a
offer that.
smaller.
It was only
Yeah,
Japanese
yeah.
and IMAX.
Okay, good for
I
them
thought about
because
that. I did
that's
it the wrong way because I could have figured out what was happening and then enjoyed it the way that they meant to be
yeah,
enjoyed, which is
yeah,
Japanese voice track, English
mhm,
subs.
yeah,
So I should have done it
exactly.
backwards, but I mean, going forward, I will. But that was my experience. How was your experience? Where'd you watch this thing, Chris?
So watched it at our Highlands Theater, which is a marquee. So it wasn't on their biggest screen actually, which did make me a little sad. But there were people in the theater. It was me and the wife. We went and watched it. We had more than decent seating. We had a good crowd. They had a little bit of hooting and hollering, but in a good way, and no real no one talked, no one was yelling about anything. No other things happened. No one got beat up in the theater. So there's there was a lot going on screen, not a lot with the crowd, and that's perfect. The appropriate cheers and jeers and stuff. So it was a good experience all around. Looked beautiful still. Again, I'm jealous of not getting to see it in IMAX, but it was still looked fantastic. I had a good theater experience for this one.
Oh, good, good, good. I mean,
Yeah,
there'll be. I'm sure this thing will get re-released again, so you might have another shot. But given the box
yeah.
office, I would imagine that this thing before how many? There's one more movie or two more movies.
There's two more.
Jeez Louise, talk about
Two more.
profit.
So
My
they're supposed
goodness.
to be the next two are supposed to be shorter than this one and more action and less of the story. Like they put a lot of the story building in this one, and there wasn't that much to be honest. I know there's a good bit of backstory tracking, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit, but they most of the story building was going to be in that first one, and from here on there's probably going to be a little bit more action than there was in this one on top of it all, so which is exciting to think about because this one had a good bit of action in it too, so it was definitely worth the price of admission in my eyes in that sense. So the so your experience with the film, on your actual viewing that you could absorb everything. So someone who's on the out, so like again, you jumped in with both feet, and that's a commendable thing by itself because there's a lot going on in something like this, especially like it's like the culmination of the show, and and all of the stories are wrapping up. Like I enjoyed my time, but I knew what to expect. And this movie has been receiving some criticism for certain pieces. And my only highlight, like to that off the rip, is like I felt like this was a long Demon Slayer episode. So the pacing, while Demon Slayer does this thing where they'll resolve a villain or they'll resolve an arc, and then there'll be backstory given after someone's been dispatched, essentially. And like that's that's true in the show, and it's not like once or twice. That's every single like thing to surmount. Once it's been accomplished, you get that backstory like time, but it comes in episode format, so it's a little different, whereas the movie does it too, just in longer form like everything else has been. So in your experience with the film, you mentioned that like like you got the emotion, because that's something that people will argue about, like it's a cartoon, so like it, like you can't have emotion because it's a cartoon, or you can't connect with it. Like you mentioned that like the emotion thing, you like you got some of that. What about like the way, like as a movie, like did you enjoy your experience of watching the movie start to finish? Like if you were to thumbs up or thumbs down this movie, would you walk out with a thumbs up, or was there enough here that where you were like, it's not, I get why it's cool, but it's not my thing. Like where are you at now that you've seen something like this?
Well, let's do it. I mean, let's
Oh, okay, yeah.
lead us in.
All right. So Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle, movie 1 of 3. What do we think? 3, 2, 1.
It's a
Hey,
thumbs way up. Here's the thing. I'm
look at
like,
that.
I'm a guy. I'm a purist. I'm a purist when it comes to storytelling, and I will never ever agree with the phrase like you just said. Like some people look at them like cartoons and therefore cannot be taken seriously. Come on, man. That is the silliest, kind of an ignorant take. And I say that I don't mean to be mean to anyone who may think that. I mean, you don't want to give it a shot. That's what's going on there. And I
Yeah,
get it. I totally understand that. However, you miss a lot of cool things. You miss, I mean,
yeah.
The War of the Rohirrim. If you missed it, you missed it. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
if you haven't
yeah.
seen it, it's a cool piece of lore that kind of fits into the already big universe that we have for Lord of the Rings. Same with this, though. It's something that's different. It's out there. It's, by the way, it's like 240, 2 hours and 40 minutes
Yeah,
ish,
yeah. This movie is meaty.
which is, I was mad the first time because I got there the first time I intentionally arrived a little late because I was like, "Oh man,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to pay," because like up to 3 hours validation, 3 hours and 1 second,
Okay,
it's
okay.
$6. So as soon
I
as I
get it.
saw the credits rolling, I got my ass out of my
You
seat.
booked it. Nice.
My ticket, I should have saved it. It was 3 hours and 22 seconds. So I
No.
had to pay $6. Yeah,
No.
yeah. It did look. It is what it is. I
Sorry, brother.
No, I mean I didn't. I should have
Yeah,
done my own planning, but
gotcha.
hence why I saw Chain Man trailer 4 times.
Nice.
So it is longer, but I never
Yeah,
I personally did not feel the length. It never
got it.
felt like it was. I under I understand the argument where like, oh well, there's 45 minutes of complete backstory exposition dump. Yes.
Yeah.
However, it's filling in gaps for you that you didn't have before
Mhm.
that, and
Yeah, and
there's a difference
and
between needed exposition and unneeded, and that was, I think, needed to understand a character better.
yeah, and like it's for something like that, because what you're talking about is the Akaza character, the Akaza villain. Some people might say, but I think Akaza is the best boy. But it is what it is. And people, fans of the show, might hate me for that, but it's fine. Um, you only have two routes to take in movie format for something like that, right? Either you have to find a way to give the backstory early. Actually, you have three options. You have to find a way to give the backstory early and sprinkled in, or you have to find a way to give the backstory at the end, or you don't give it at all. And I think the last option is the worst one, because his character gains so many levels after you understand like more about him and his story than if they were to do nothing and just let him be ambiguously who he is. I think that character becomes like he's one of those characters that, like, for fans that will watch this again, you can notice more and more things about his character that you didn't before. Like, I'm very interested. I don't know if like this is the right space to go into, like, like his character and like some of the things that you may have seen on screen that you didn't catch, but like his character's backstory, it shows you that it's tragic, right? But you also there's things that like it doesn't tell you that well, about what you're seeing that are just things you have to figure out by watching. So like it's such an interesting thing to, which is a hallmark of the show where like it's because Tanjiro, the main character, he sees all these demons in it, like for the humans that they were, not and who they could still be, not for the demons they are now. Because and that's because his sister Nezuko is a demon, and her life was spared by Giyu, his master, his first master, you know, like throughout at the beginning of the film of the series. So like you're seeing these things because that's how Tanjiro sees them, and that's what the show has done all the way through, and that's what the movie did as well with Akaza's character, who is a fantastic villain and just such a cool fight to see happen between the three of them all the way through. But his backstory being told, it's lengthy. I do think they could have found ways to cut that down sometime, and especially where it's at, even though it's commonly at the very end of these villains and their story. That's when we usually get their backstories in the series and stuff too. It happens at the climax, or I guess just after the climax. But in this time, it was like weirdly like during the climax at the very end of it, or like kind of like a like will he won't he kind of be overcome kind of deal. So it definitely does, I think, put a mar on it a little bit. But in the end, I'm glad we got the backstory we did because it made me appreciate that character all the more. Did you notice anything cool or anything that like symbolism that like you weren't told about his backstory as you were watching
Well,
the
of
film?
course, it what the backstory did was not only give you, because you can't Disney villains are 2D because there's no redeeming quality. At least most of them, they
Mhm.
just want to see the world burn and that's it.
Yeah,
The, those villains are less interesting to me
yeah. Ursula,
than
the
the
Wicked Witch, like that kind
correct,
of deal, right? Like, yeah,
correct,
yeah,
like Jafar, like
yeah.
there's no other side to the coin. But
They're just bad people. Yeah,
with what's his name, Akaza?
yeah, yeah. Very good.
Akaza is, well, he's living kind of a tortured existence now. And
Hmm.
he is a demon, but I mean, he kind of reluctantly did that because of other circumstances, which then lead the payoff for me is when there's some really emotional moments after the
Yeah,
fight is done and he's like fading away. Is That's some emotional stuff right there that like
which
movies do well and anime did
mhm.
well. So
Well, so like, and I know you're an emotion guy, right? So like, so I was curious to see if you were going to see that happen on screen, and if you were going to be able to connect to it the same way you do in like in a live action film, right? Because like that's kind of like that barrier that some people have a hard time crossing because again, it's drawn, it's not live action, it's a quote unquote a cartoon where like that emotion was real to me. You know what I mean?
of
Like
course,
like you
of
felt for
course.
the characters involved,
Well, of
and
course,
like
especially
it's
when
yeah.
she appears to him when he's
Hmm.
back in his when he's no longer in demon form, when like this like when we're seeing him fade
Yeah,
away, and then he's holding her and there's a fire in the background and like
yeah.
that's on fire, but he's also fading away. Like it's beautiful because he's done being tortured. At least I look in this world. I don't know,
Well,
but I would assume he's done
yeah,
being
yeah.
tortured.
So this is cool. There's symbolism there.
Yeah,
So the reason why you see fire and you see them burning together is because they keep on saying that he can't go with them to heaven, right? But she's choosing to not go. She's choosing to go
of
with
course,
him. Is what
of
the
course.
symbolism is.
That's what I got. Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
and I thought that's such a powerful hit. You know what I
I didn't
mean?
want to
Where it's
spell it
like,
out for someone who I may have hadn't seen it, but we're talking about a, I mean, we're talking about a redemption arc. So
yeah,
then,
yeah.
yes, of course, that's beautiful. I mean, but it's done. So in my notes, as a little aside, do you remember the movie? What was that movie with Josh Hartnett and the vampires in the isolated town up north? What was that movie? It was a
Josh
graphic
Hartnett, the
novel,
vampires.
28 Days
Is
of
that
Night or something.
40? Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, whatever that was. Do you remember in the end when he's already been turned and he had to be turned so he could fight the villain,
Hmm.
the Danny Huston character, and then him and his wife that were estranged, that were kind of flirting at the beginning of the movie. Do
Hmm.
you remember
Yeah,
that
yeah,
scene on the cliffside where like
yeah.
he hugs her and then the sun comes up and he starts screaming and he fades away completely and he's
Yep.
then all you're left with is a shot of her in the background still hugging in that weird like music still playing, but it's very
Yeah.
emotional and it hits. Same kind of thing is
Yeah. Yeah.
it works if
Mhm.
you set it up correctly, which is what they did with in the beginning where they're kind of flirting again, maybe not divorced. Like they set it up.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah.
what the backstory does. It takes 45 minutes longer to do it, but I don't see a problem with it. I don't. And obviously they didn't either, or they would have cut some of it out.
Yeah, yeah.
I can see the argument where yes, it could have been a line of dialogue, but then it would have been far less impactful. You know what I mean? And
Mm, yeah.
that's a for me, I'm willing to put the time in to get the payoff.
Okay, yeah.
I know not everyone feels like that, but
Yeah. So, like, like, I don't wanna, like, hearken too much into all the criticisms, but, like, you know, I think that if and again, this comes from the manga, so like there's already they're adapting this from from previous works, right? But like Tanjiro, he figures it out, right? He figures it out and he does something awesome. He like he's the hero that finds out how to surpass the barrier that is this villain, and he does something really goddamn cool, and has just that badass moment of conquering this just before unconquerable enemy, right? And I guess, and I don't guess that kind of feels undone by the fact that well, it wasn't enough. But then right after that, like Giyu comes in and he pushes that back over the line to being enough again, and which okay, cool. But then then it's not enough again. And I think like that repetition of it and then getting the resolution we do, I think that's probably where most of the criticisms I've seen come. And I get it. I don't disagree with them actually. It's I think having one less resolution in there would have been I think perfect, because I think because even in the end, Akaza himself does the deed,
of
to try to
course.
end what's going on. And it's like so that's like three things that should defeat this guy, and in the end it comes down to the fact that it's his he finally remembers his past is what does it, because he has no memories. Muzan, the one that turned him into the demon to begin with, he takes his memories when he turns him.
Yep.
So it's like so he this whole time he's been getting stronger, and he's never known why. And like all of his moves being based off of the fireworks that him and his fiance would go watch together, he doesn't even know why. And like his compass being the same thing as his fiance's hairpins, and he doesn't even know why. And like if it all comes to him that like now he gets it all, that's him finally able to, like, now that he knows, he knows his reason's gone. And that's such a cool thing to build up to, but like it takes a long time to get there, and it's on top of like these cool moments that happen to get you there, where it's like, oh well, I wanted Tanjiro to be the guy to do it, or I wanted Giyu and
Oh.
Tanjiro to overcome it. I can see that criticism for it.
Sure.
So
I mean, again, criticism is a loosely based term here because like
yeah, yeah,
they're doing what I do is I would have done this differently. Well,
yeah, yeah.
okay, you can state that, but then you got to realize that it didn't happen like that for whatever reason it didn't.
hmm
So, I mean,
Now,
that's
now,
the thing.
Now, what did you think visually of that fight? Because I know this is the big fight, and I do want to go back and ask you about the other two. But like this was the big one. This is what everybody was here to see, right? Like this is what fans of the show have been waiting for since Akaza killed Rengoku way back in the last movie.
So
And
this is
yeah,
this is the Obi-Wan versus Anakin, the fight that we all wanted from '99,
yes,
but had to sit through two terrible
yeah,
movies and the third one to get
yeah,
there. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Palpatine's next. This is Anakin. Yeah, 100%. That's what's happening here. So yeah,
Well, the thing is, I've seen a lot of Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is the only other thing I have
okay.
I have experience with. This happens a lot in DBZ. They fight for several episodes,
hmm
they power up for several episodes. Then there's a, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
two
yeah. No,
people
you're not wrong.
never move in the sky from two episodes.
Yeah,
I get it. So like that's a very kind of, I don't want to say it's unique to anime, but
yeah.
I'm it's unique to anime. It's I didn't mind how they were doing, but it's all again discarding logic, because like
Oh yeah.
what's the Aristotle story is you're removing, I forget the willing suspense of disbelief is
Yes. Yep.
watching a story play out, whether Aristotle's time or today. You have to just
Mhm.
accept on screen with what's going on, and for me that's tough because you will
Yeah.
know, our audience will know, Chris, you will know, Roger will know that I'm a guy with like logic and physics to play a part, and well, they can't do that. Well, they're also in an infinity castle that keeps moving, and there's demons, and there are demon
Yeah.
slayer core, and people's heads are
Mhm.
cut off, and then they can just put it back on and be fine again. That's
So
the world
that
you're in.
That's really unique. That's interesting. So like, so a guy like you who does try to find the rules and like things having that realism kick to it, like within live action films, maybe to you, does the fact that this is like an animation, does that actually help you kind of let that go a little bit?
Of
In
course it
regard.
does. Of course it does.
Okay,
It's yeah.
I feel like that's probably a good thing then, right? Because like that kind of like knocks down a barrier that can get in the way, like to some degree for someone
Oh,
who kind of like sees that in like the live action
absolutely.
side of things.
Absolutely. It gets in the way. I mean, imagine
That's
watching
cool.
Dragon Ball Z and then going to watch the Justin Chatwin Dragon Ball Z from 2005.
Oh, no, no,
You're
no,
gonna be
no. That doesn't
disappointed.
exist. We don't speak of that. Don't do
I don't
that.
know why I
Don't
don't
bring
know
that
why
up.
they even that's one thing, like, I don't even know why you tried to that's like trying to adapt a live action version of this. It
Yeah,
doesn't work. Why do it?
it'd be
It
tough.
doesn't
Yeah,
it'd
it'd
be
be
tough.
tough. So like okay, but like animation wise, how did you feel about it? Like like the fight itself, like visually what you were seeing on screen. Was it impressive to you? Was it
Yes.
like, okay, this is cool, but like whatever? What did you think about like the visuals you were seeing on screen?
Well, so I also didn't realize that what this I guess it also is more of an anime thing of the inner monologue that these people have
Yes.
with each
Yeah.
other,
Yep.
whether like whether you see anime does this thing where he would go Tanjiro would go in for a hit, and then the demon what's the name again? Akara?
Akaza. Akaza.
Akaza would dodge it and then throw another punch his way. But the punch would go so fast you wouldn't see it. However, it would stop just as it was almost about to connect to the neck.
Yeah.
And then you get a 3 minute inner monologue from Tanjiro.
Yeah. Yep.
When he's like saying, "Oh, I should have
Yeah.
dodged that. Oh, he's coming at me. What do I do?" It's like there's that gray
Yeah.
area, another kind of barrier for entry to this thing
I
of
mean,
like, well, I don't
we
think
get
that
bullet
would
time, right? We get
sure,
bullet time sometimes.
but I don't mind it so much because of the
I
world we're
gotcha.
in, and I don't mean that to come off as a slight towards anime. It's just the style, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's
It's
totally okay.
yeah. That's not a uniquely Demon Slayer thing. That happens
Of
in a
course,
lot of different works. Some don't do it, but most do, and it definitely is something that is a part of like most of like this style of viewing. So
but
I
it's
get that.
as far as like some of the other visuals, while taking into context that fight we're talking about is especially with Giyu
Hmm.
who has the water blade.
Yeah, yeah,
Some
yeah,
of that awesome you see him going for a hit and then you'll hear the and then you'll see like the water like it shows that he's lobbed off a hand of the enemy
yeah.
and then you see the path of the blade. That's cool.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it's something that's something we do not get in live action film a lot of
Oh yeah, yeah,
because there'd be really difficult to do that in a way that would
yeah,
be and here's the word in a way that would be believable in
yeah.
any kind of thing, you know?
It would be more visually jarring, right? Too, because when it happens in animation like this, it's all consistent, right? It flows with the colors
Sure,
and the
sure.
softness and the style on the screen. Whereas like if it was live action, it would be computer animated, so it would look out of place. Instead of this, it slots in nicely with the rest of the world around it, which is cool.
I agree. You know
So
what? So, well, let me just put this in
yeah,
because
yeah,
we're
go ahead.
talking about it right
Yeah.
now. You know what it made me think of? It made me think of The Last Samurai. And do you know what sequence I'm going to talk about next?
Uh, I don't actually.
So, so in Last Samurai,
Yeah.
when he is released and he knows that the emperor is going to kill
Hmm.
the leader of the samurai and put the end of this rebellion right now, and because they have become friends, Tom Cruise and I forget the guy's name. Watch that movie all the time. Ken Watanabe's character.
Wants it? Yeah,
One
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I forget his name. Anyway, so then he goes to like find him, and then he's confronted. Tom Cruise is confronted by three of the Emperor's men, and it's like a weird. They have guns, they have rifles, they have swords. It's like this weird time in history,
Mhm.
and the fight plays out, and we see it playing out in slow motion, and like we see them him throwing people and we see him swing the sword in slow motion,
Yeah.
and then we see the final like he goes up like this with the sword and then the guy says his last thing, the samurai are finished,
Mhm.
and then Tom Cruise just "Whip!" cuts his head right off.
Yep.
That was an accurate Tom Cruise sound, by the way.
Yeah, oh, perfect, yeah.
And then he kind of sits there and thinks about how fast that just happened because
Mhm.
he did things so fast that
Yeah.
that's an interesting style to show that in live action film. Anime doesn't quite need to figure out a way to do it; they just do it. which is what I can
Okay,
appreciate
yeah.
because you lean into what you can do and take advantage of the medium. That's fine with me too. It just I'm saying it doesn't hurt it, is what some
Okay.
people might think.
Okay. So then let me ask you about the first thing you saw. Well, like not the first thing, but the first action set you saw in this. Because like this is probably like, this is your official first introduction to what the action was going to be like. What did you think of Shinobu and Doma, the butterfly Hashira versus the one that was eating the unfortunate
Absorbing,
girls?
absorbing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you think about that? Like, so like that was kind of your introduction to like what this action was going to look like because that kicks off very quickly in this movie, and it's the first thing that really starts to happen on like a serious level. You get to see the Hashira running around the castle for a minute, but then like that thing just kicks right off essentially.
It does, and we come back to them at the end. So I think all the stuff was
Hmm.
happening kind of simultaneously in the
Yes.
Infinity
Yeah.
Castle. That's okay.
Yeah. Or at least all within like the same like 20-minute time frame. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. That was also it was a different style, I think,
Hmm.
visually striking, but it's I don't. Well, that's not the fight of the movie. For instance, that's
It's not.
coming.
No.
That the sequel to that fight will be coming later, I assume,
Hmm.
because those two
Yeah.
have another showdown again. But it was a lot of very similar kind of techniques that
Hmm.
I didn't. So I guess the answer you're searching for is, did I find it different, better, worse?
I think one of just like like that's the first bit of the action you got to see. So like, were you impressed with what you were seeing
Oh,
on
of course.
screen then, or okay?
Well, thing is, I don't maybe don't love anime, but I
Mhm.
appreciate what it's doing in movie
Yeah,
form. So like that barrier has never been there for me ever. It's
gotcha. Yeah,
because like I just prefer sometimes not to get involved with it because
yeah,
I've
yeah. That
other
makes
things
sense.
going on and other things to watch, and but it's just like I don't as far as like watching the first sequence and acclimating myself to that world again,
Mhm.
that did a good job. It didn't nothing in my mind alarm bells went off like, "Ah, physics
Mm.
don't apply here." It's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nothing went off in my
Okay,
head like that.
okay. So let me lead you a little bit with a couple things on that one. What did you think of the fact that were you expecting kind of the hopelessness of Shinobu's situation, or did you expect her to like find a way to overcome it? Like it being A early in the movie and B being an obvious good guy versus bad guy situation.
I thought it was gonna be more like Dragon Ball Z where we're gonna get a few blows landed and then they're gonna somehow disband and come back to it
Hmm.
later. I
Okay.
mean, movies are essentially storytelling is good overcoming evil, so that's
Hmm.
usually the case. Is there's one good person who is very disadvantaged in the fight, and
Yeah.
the villain always has an advantage over the good person for whatever reason. Because that's not if it's the other way around, it's not compelling. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you kind of have to do that. But um, I didn't expect the fight to be finished. If that's what you're asking, no.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. So like and like I don't know. I think anime does something kind of uniquely where it's able to not that they do all the time, but like they're able to have the higher stakes in moments like this or in movies like this because I mean, don't get me wrong, she's not the main character, but she's still a beloved good guy,
Sure.
quote unquote, right? So it's like to lose her so early in this 3 episode series is like I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't ready because I'm an anime only for Demon Slayer, right? So it's like I had no idea what I was going to see when I walked in, and for her to be, I mean, she had about 20 minutes of action, but then things go bad for her, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's not great. Oh no. And then but that leads into into her like her apprentice coming in and on the very end of it, and then now she is now facing this demon in Doma that just basically
Oh,
wrecked her entire worldview.
that's what you were asking. Okay, I didn't quite understand
Mhm.
what you were asking. That's what you're
Oh
asking.
no, it's
Okay.
okay, it's okay.
Um,
Yeah, 'cause
I feel like that adds to the emotional involvement for us
yeah.
too.
Mhm.
Is when you're seeing what happened to her predecessor, and then so the stakes are higher for her because of where the other person ended up, and she doesn't want to end up like that,
Well,
but
yeah.
she will if she's not careful. Yeah, I mean, I guess the stakes are increased for that. Sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess are the stakes any less for me because it's anime? Is maybe a question you might
Well,
be asking. No, the answer is
maybe.
no.
Well, okay, I got you. Well, so like I don't think I can recall a live action movie that like kind of like like they don't do the same thing, right? They follow a very they usually follow a very set path of storytelling where like we wouldn't have got something like that to happen so quickly to us like that set of characters,
Well, it's just
which
it's
which I think
how
is
it's
neat.
presented. It's just
Yeah.
you can do I think you can do things like that because it's anime and because you're not operating by real time, real world
Hmm.
physics.
Yeah.
None of it. You're operating by the ones that make sense in that world, and in that
True.
world, that is fine. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I got you.
yeah, because I mean,
Okay.
you're so if episode one would have started with Qui Gon Jinn fighting and Obi-Wan fighting Darth Maul, and then the end of the episode we return to it and Qui-Gon's dead. Yeah, I think there's a problem because it doesn't I don't think time works that way.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Unless you find some Tarantino reason to cut things so it makes sense, but
To double back on it. Yeah.
I don't think why double back if you don't have to. When
Hmm.
anime looked at something and be like, we can set something up for the first 40 minutes and then we can go away for 2 hours and come back to it for 5 minutes and be fine.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's what they do. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't think that's the problem.
I'm going to jump around again. So there was also another big fight for fans, the Kaigaku versus Zenitsu fight, which is the the two lightning boys.
Oh, okay,
The
okay.
so like that. So I'll lay a little groundwork for you before I ask you if what you thought about it, because though like Zenitsu is one of the three amigos, right? He's one of the three musketeers of the show, and his character is very love him or hate him. His entire shtick is that he's a big coward and he can only fight while he's asleep, where he kind of like passes out and his instincts take over, kind of deal. You don't see that in this movie, so you didn't know that it was a big deal that he was awake and fighting, right? So like you don't have like that advantage being someone who's kind of jumping into this, but so like he's a big fan favorite because of it, and this was kind of a big anticipated moment because like how is he going to act while he's locked in instead of while he's screaming and passing out and then fighting. um what did you think of that fight? And like like I'm not mean like philosophically, but was the that because that story was more condensed. We don't really know much about Kaigaku, even like anime watchers. There hasn't like been like a lot of story arc with him. So like we get to see a very isolated event in this showdown where Zenitsu and this guy meet up. They say some, hey, I don't like you, and then he's like, I don't like you either, and then they sword fight to the death. You know what I mean? But like it was so concentrated and it happened pretty quick too, where like I thought it was a flash of of cool shit on the screen, and then the guy I wanted to win wins, which I thought was like a very interesting climate. Like visually they did some really cool stuff with that one too. So what do you think about like
That was the one
that
where the
happened?
guy, and I have to ask you this rudimentary question because I can.
You're fine.
He was dressed in orange, right? He had like an
Yeah,
orange. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So he was the one that ended up falling through. Okay, that's what was
Mhm,
going
yeah.
on. Is another one of those things where we got an inner monologue for 2 minutes while he launched an attack and then
Yes.
figured out how to complete the attack. And this
Yeah.
time he had to be much faster than his opponent because his opponent knew what was coming. So he had to
Yeah.
change up tactics. That's the one we're talking about. Okay. Is
Mhm.
that's a little different of a style than the first and the third one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only because it had to be different, and especially with the how it ends with the falling through the castle,
Mhm.
and the one of them has been decapitated, head still
Yeah.
talking. It takes my brain a second to be like, wait a minute, no, that's okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's that wasn't as exciting to me as the
Okay.
third fight because I don't think. Here's the thing about that is
It's not
it's so
supposed to be though, I don't
well.
think.
That's the thing. It's so obvious that the third that the hold on the Tanjiro and Giyu against
Yeah.
the demon in the end was
Mhm.
supposed to be the marquee piece for this
Oh, yeah.
film. And like
Mhm.
especially with the emotion that followed and with the story with the set piece of the demon accepting he is he's redeeming himself and then
Mhm.
he on by his own accord then sacrifices himself, take himself out of the
Mhm.
picture. That's the set piece for this film. Like
Okay, yeah, yeah.
that was so the others are coming, but we got less of them.
Yeah.
Um so that's the thing is I don't I don't know where we're coming or going only because like
Again, it's a
I don't know
lot.
anything. It's a lot. And
Yeah, yeah.
I watched that recap twice and it's like well, two separate ones, but they covered almost
Mhm.
everything similarly. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
man, that's a lot of information.
Screen Rant has a good one too. I don't know if you saw theirs. They have a good one too, where they go through a whole bunch. Or no, Screen Crush, not Screen Rant. Screen Crush has a good one.
And I saw
So
the Mugen Train. They're actually fighting demons on a train.
yeah,
So I thought, oh
yeah,
well, that's very aptly named. I should have
yeah.
watched
I
that
mean,
one.
I mean, eventually the train becomes a demon. So I
Okay,
mean, yeah,
good.
there's a whole bunch. Yeah.
Uh,
So okay, so I have a couple more questions that I want to ask you from the outside in, and then we can wrap it up if after you have any for me because we're already pretty long. But this is I could talk about this for days. So as someone coming into it at this point and seeing the movie play out, knowing that there's more to come, movie wise, are there any characters that you saw on screen that didn't get to fight that you're excited to see? That like you're like, ooh, I bet that's going to be cool, or that guy looks awesome, or I like that, or I like the way this guy's style. Like, did you see any characters you were interested in that we
mm.
didn't get to explore in this film? And it's okay if
Who
that the answer is a no.
who was the? Maybe I miss it. Who was the thing at the end of the credits? He was in like a big ball of red pulsating stuff of energy. Who
That is
was that?
that's the
That's
big
the big
big bad.
demon.
Yeah,
And who was
that's
the who was
Muzan.
who? Okay, that okay. I think I knew that. Who was the guy with 6 eyes, spider eyes?
So that is Kokushibo. I'm sorry if I'm messing that up. That is the number one ranked demon behind Muzan. He is the most powerful like henchman that he has essentially.
So he's like the second in command.
Yes. Oh, very much so. And he's also known as like the legendary swordsman. So this guy may have once been a good guy, which is like kind of like the story behind it. He also looks
Well,
a lot like Tanjiro's. He also looks like he's a lot like Tanjiro's dad, which drives me nuts, but it's fine.
I thought there was some. I didn't know what was going on there because there was a few minutes where Tanjiro someone talks about that and I was like, are they really trying to set that up? But like, no, I don't think they were trying to set anything
Yeah,
familial with Tanjiro up. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I for me it's the opposite. For me it's I'm excited that our heroes get to fight that guy because
Okay,
he's very powerful and I want to see how see for me it's the other way around. Is I want to see how they're ever going to overcome this guy because
okay, gotcha.
there's going to have to be some loss and you know me I love loss.
I love
I
you love some steaks, right?
I do well. My biggest gripe with the Lord of the Rings is 8 of
Every
the 9 survive. What
yeah,
the hell, Tolkien? Come on, man.
yeah.
It's like every
Oh
time I
yes,
snort that Coke when I read Lord of the Rings, I'm like, how did
Jesus.
8 of these people survive? Given what they went through, it's like, my God. But that's my thing is
Don't
like
do
in a
don't do drugs,
war,
kids.
in a war, people die. That's just what
Yeah.
happens. In it, when two sides are fighting, you have loss. I don't. That's my biggest gripe with the MCU is you got to start letting some of these characters, albeit nobly and
Mm,
with maybe heroic send offs, they've got to start going away. You
gotcha.
can't just not include them in the script. I need to know why they're not back. So you have
Ah,
to
okay,
include them and then kill them off, or that would have been helpful to keep some of them gone. I mean, but that's what I'm excited for. They're going to fight these
okay.
big bads, and they themselves are not big bad. I mean, it's the same for me. It's the
Yeah.
okay. So just to give you one last. So when I heard from Terminator 3 was coming out in 2003, I was so excited because I learned early on in the development cycle of that movie that it was just the same. Arnold was coming back, not the same Arnold from T2, but the same T800, but he was
Mhm.
fighting a much more advanced Terminator than even Robert Patrick in Terminator 2.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So I was like, how are they going to do it? Like, I get excited thinking about how
Mhm.
they're going to take these guys down. I know it sounds
Okay.
maybe weird from the question you asked,
No, no,
that's what I'm
makes sense.
excited about because these big
Cool.
bads are fun to think about how
Yeah.
they're going to be taken down.
And now you've seen in movie one that they're not afraid to to apply some stakes to it all too, which is
Correct.
which I equally admit it adds a layer which I'm ready to see. So okay, then my last question for you, watching this movie and enjoying your time watching it, and be honest here, it's okay. It's okay if however this goes for you. Does this A make you excited to see the next one? And does it make you want to kind of go back and maybe dabble into the world of Demon Slayer a little bit? Or is it too far removed from the things you're usually into for you to like go, okay, this was cool. Maybe, let me explore this and see if this is consistent as I watch.
That was what I remember when I said I'm going to make a proclamation on the show.
Oh
When
yeah,
does
yeah, yeah, yeah.
when does the next film come out?
They said late 26 or early 27.
As long as I have access to everything, I will start at the beginning of this and work my way forward. I'm intrigued.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
intrigued because this
That's
movie.
cool.
I'm not just doing it because it's something you like. I'm doing it because I really kind of sat down with my thoughts here and like this movie intrigues me with the story.
All
It's
right.
because it's got the basic of the heroes and the villains, the good
Hmm.
versus the evil, and the heroes really struggling and the evil starting out stronger and then will eventually be whittled down. That's what I like. So it's
Okay.
Star Wars, it's just the Lord of the Rings, it's Harry Potter, it's
Yeah.
I watch Game of Thrones over and over again. This is no different than that. It's just
Hmm.
I say no different. It's just a long drama playing out in front of you with different rules to the universe, but to me it's no different. And once I get in the story, god damn it, I'm in.
Well, very cool. That. That's exciting from my perspective because I'm always happy when someone gets at least interested enough to kind of like to explore it themselves. Because like as good as one thing is, there's probably something that you might find that you enjoy more once you kind of like go once someone opens up to like okay, I like this. Like for example, my mother, she she's a good woman. She's fantastic. She can be a little closed minded, but I got her to watch 2 anime, and she loved her experience watching them so much that she tried others. Nothing really like compared to the first two that she watched, but like she is now officially a fan of Attack on Titan and of Free Ren, and like she loves those things, and they're very good pieces of work, and they're very different from like what Demon Slayer is. So like it's always cool to see like when someone kind of like opens up to like to what this could be, because there's so many different things to pull from, and it's always cool to see a new fan kind of go, maybe this is cool, and like they start like dabbling a little bit and stuff, so
Well, it's cool. I mean,
it opens up a whole bunch of stuff.
story's cool, regardless of how it's
Yeah,
told. But I mean,
very,
also
very
I
much so.
remember watching some stuff many years ago, 20, 25 years ago. The English
Uh-huh.
voice acting was abysmal at best.
Oh, it's a whole different world. Yeah, 100%.
And
Oh
this was
yeah,
actually
it's
this was the best I had seen it. Granted, I don't watch a lot of anime English voice
yeah,
acting,
yeah,
so it doesn't. So I mean, like I've almost
yeah,
nothing in the past 20 years to compare it to. But I
yeah.
was very impressed. I mean, we did The Boy and the Heron. We've seen some Studio
Hmm.
Ghibli films.
Yeah.
Um, and that one I watch. I mean, that's got a huge voice cast. Christian Bale,
Oh
a
yeah.
ton of people are
Hmm.
in that. So it's I don't think this is as far removed from people as like it's a cartoon that a lot of people might assume that
Hmm.
everyone thinks it is that. I don't think that's the case at
Yeah,
all. But
yeah.
I mean, story's story, regardless of if it's
Yep.
Achilles and Hector or if it's Tanjiro and Gyu and then
Hmm.
teaming up to fight some demons. It's all just how you frame it, and
Yeah.
they've done it in a way that it sucked me in, man. It really did. I didn't
Cool.
expect to be sucked in. I absolutely did not expect to be
Cool.
sucked in.
I like when we went to do this, I was ready for you to come on here and be like, listen, what the hell is this,
What
man?
the fuck
I
is this?
can't. 2.5 hours twice. I hate you. Like I was ready for you to be irate and confused and angry, like an old man that can't remember where he put his keys. You know what I mean? Like just I was ready for that. So I'm glad that watching this, you were kind of like, yeah, this this is different, kind of weird, but it's kind of cool. Like that's
I
the
was
best
those things.
reaction
I was those things in the first showing.
in the first
It's
shot.
like I couldn't see it. I didn't know what was going on. I was
Yeah,
just furious, but
yeah.
I stuck it out. And then the second showing is where it clicked. I will be doing it on English voice acting though. I will not be doing the Japanese tracks for if I'm
That's
going to
fine.
if I'm going to watch the seasons in the first film. It's all going to be in
Hmm.
English, only because
Okay,
like
yeah,
I, it's easier for me to digest that way. But
that works. Yeah,
and I'm
that
not
works.
saying that
That's
like
cool.
I'm not saying that like the other way is wrong. I'm saying for me to digest it, I'm just
Hmm.
going to do it in English voice track. So
Gotcha. However, it might be easy on your TV if you watch it subtitled that way. For the record.
fair, fair enough.
For the record.
Fair enough.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
What about? I mean,
Yeah.
you're a mega fan of this. Were you happy with this
Yeah.
product?
I was. So I actually got a little I got a little dobby about it where I felt like the people that I talked to about this kind of stuff, like they were kind of like down on it or disappointed about it. My wife had a big problem with the fact that she felt like Tanjiro and Giyu got they got robbed of like a cool way to finish off a bad guy and stuff. And I've heard a lot of complaints about they spent too much time on Akaza's backstory and such. But like so like I kind of got into my own head thinking about like, well, am I wrong? Like like does everybody have a point? Am I just kind of blinded to the hype and like all this stuff about it? And like after I thought about it, it's like to me this is exactly what I expected to get. I expected a flashier, more action packed, way higher quality animated version of the show I've watched 4 arcs of, and that's what I got. Like I didn't get anything outside of that realm, and because of that, I kind of have a little more respect for it because it's like they didn't try to do something that because well we're doing it this way so we have to change stuff. They said everyone loves this. We're gonna do this thing like we've done it, but just do it bigger, and that's what they did. And not only that, like I feel like they delivered like the showdown of the century, even with like that. If you want to be marred by the fact that like it didn't like the fight didn't end in like the coolest way it could have, I think that like just the work they did. There's a sequence in this, a 1 minute sequence that is 5,000 pages of animation. Like
You serious?
that's an
Wow.
insane amount. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, within the Akaza fight. Like there's a 1 minute sequence that's 5,000 pages of art of screen work, which is just a huge accomplishment and achievement for them. So I love this, man. Like the more I think about it, the more I feel like I'm entrenching myself into like the fact that I know that it's good and that I'm okay with what I saw on screen, like 100%. I'm more than okay. I'm ecstatic about it. I can't wait for the next one. Yeah, this one to me was really cool, and I'm extra excited that it's doing well in theaters because all that means is that I might get more of the cool shit that I like in the anime space to come on the big screen, and that's only good for the fans, that get to see this stuff because
Oh,
there's a lot of really cool stuff out there.
it only wins for theater. I mean, look, we may be. I mean, if anyone with half a brain looking at theater performance is realizing,
Hmm.
okay, well, that did really well. Maybe let's tap into that market more often than
Yeah,
just once every couple of years.
yeah,
Let's do 2 big anime movies a year and see how it takes for a few years, and then just,
hmm,
but, like, that's it. More stories in more places is never a bad thing. That's
yeah,
never a
yeah,
problem, and it's just opening up different cultures to different ways of
yeah.
storytelling is not that
Well,
Japanese is, like, a new thing, like anime is
yeah.
storytelling. It's not. It's one of the older ones, but
Well,
it's entertaining still.
we talk about it on the main show all the time where it's like there's stuff that comes out that we watch that we're not fans of, right? We watch it because it's going to be big, we watch it because it's worth giving the time to speak about, but like we watch movies that like aren't for us, as like a three-man group, and like we say all the time, I hope it's good, or like I hope it does well. Even things we disagree with, like ideologically, or like the story like doesn't resonate with us. It's like and we didn't like the movie. Like, well, I hope it's successful because that means the people that enjoy this they're going to get more of it, and that's what it's about. It's about like that stuff being successful, so you know people that are fans of it can get more of the thing that they're obviously into, because that's how we get more high quality stuff, because it's you get more and more of it, you're gonna get good stuff, you're gonna get bad stuff, but you're gonna get great stuff too, and that's when
Sure.
it gets really exciting.
I mean, that's the thing though. Is like we just if we're gonna watch it, I just want it to be good. However, that's changed recently to please don't destroy the stuff I love.
You know what? Fair.
Well, I mean, I've seen my franchises drug through the mud, and they just
Yeah,
Terminator, Alien is like those are gone. Those aren't coming back.
yeah.
So it's I mean, without any kind of visualizing, it's such a shame. But for
Hmm.
you, this I mean, I don't think there was much of a chance that this would have been a heap of crap. But I mean, there's always a chance. It's always a coin flip of will they go in a different
Listen,
direction and you don't like it, and then it's just shitty for the who knows?
fumbles happen all the time
Sure they do,
in the
but
movie space, man. So there's some stuff that could have went wrong here, but I'm happy with what I got to see. I'm
I'm happy
bummed
what
about it.
what I got to see. I got many hours
Good.
invested, but I'm happy with it. I'm happy to go back and start at the beginning and see where things
Yeah.
unfold and how they
Yeah.
unfold, and
Yeah.
yeah, so
Oh,
I'm
listen,
I'm I'm really happy with this.
when you're done, man, the internet, myself, anybody, like we have things we can point you to. I firmly believe, and I'm going to say it now, and I'm just so I it can be on record. I'm gonna have you dabble into free run, because as a Lord of the Rings fan, as a medieval fantasy guy, if you watch that, I guarantee you'll have it on repeat.
How
It is
long is it?
just
How long?
it's
Because here's the thing: when I start something, usually I finish it. So please
I
don't
know.
tell me it's like 45, like it's One Piece. There's like 1,200 episodes or something.
It's like 30 episodes and done.
Oh, okay, fair
20
enough.
minute episodes. Yeah. So,
Oh, I
but
could do that.
but enjoy your time with Demon Slayer first, because it is a fun ride all the way through, man. That's cool that it got you kind of pumped to like go back and check it out. That's
We didn't
awesome.
even look at the numbers. Did you see the numbers for this thing? Don't look if you haven't seen them.
Oh, No, I haven't looked yet because I didn't want to get down on reviews. Because like I said, like the people I talked to were getting me down. So I was like, I don't even want to
Down
see people.
on reviews, my friend, 98 tomato meter, 98 popcorn meter.
What? All
And
right,
then
go.
I think the the Metacritic is sitting at a 69. Nice. But
Nice.
it's sitting
Listen,
at that's a very favorable number.
I was gonna say if it's a 6 or higher, I'll be happy. So being that close to a 7, hell yeah, good.
Let's just
And
call it 7 because I don't like saying let's just call it 7. So
okay, yeah,
um
7, yeah, fine,
that's must watch territory. And if you
yeah,
want if you if you just do the 69, it's 1 point away from must watch
must
territory.
watch
So
territory. Yeah,
it's right there anyway.
exactly.
So yeah, it's very
Heck
high
yeah, no,
numbers.
that's cool.
Very high.
Yeah, like it's like worldwide, it's almost at $400 million or something. Or it's like it's creeping on 400 million. It's got good ratings and stuff. If you've got if you have just the smallest inkling of what is this thing about? What's this Demon Slayer Infinity Castle about? It's got everyone excited for it. Just go watch it. Find out for yourself.
And
Because
the voice cast I didn't say, but it's better for these people I didn't say their name because I don't want to butcher names, but it's all very
yeah,
impressive in how I've seen the
oh yeah,
Japanese and I've seen the English. It's all very impressive, and things have come such a long way since
oh yeah,
Dragon Ball Z in like '97. You know what I mean? Like
oh god,
such a
yeah,
long way. So
yeah,
yeah,
yep,
I'm happy with it. I'm glad you are too. I know this is a big deal for you. So
yeah, yeah.
yes,
Thank you,
sir.
man. Cool.
Well,
Let's wrap it up.
Chris, thank you for joining me for this for this discussion of what could be literally like a 12-hour conversation
Oh god,
about
yeah.
Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. It could, and there's so many moving parts, like so many characters, like those people that were like trying to figure out the castle, and like
Oh yeah,
I had the whole team trying to,
yep.
that in itself is. I'm excited to see if that goes anywhere. So, are we leaving the castle now for good?
Are we leaving the castle?
Like, is the
Like,
story leaving because it was a train, now it's a castle? Are we going somewhere else, or?
I don't think the vehicles are things you should focus on. The characters will be in the castle until remember their goal is to get Muzan out of the castle. That's their goal.
Oh, so he's at the beating. He was in the castle when we see him. He's like
Yes,
the
yeah,
beating energy heart. That's okay.
yeah.
Maybe I missed that.
That's what the crows are looking for.
Well, very good job to the directors of this. There's two of them, two writers. Very good job to all of them. But thank you, Chris, for
Nice.
joining me. Well,
Yeah,
actually, thank you for having me for this discussion because
yeah.
it's one that I wouldn't have had not been for your fandom of this.
Gotcha.
Yes. So that does it for us on the bonus
Mhm.
episode for Post Credits Podcast, a show where we are lucky enough to talk about movies with you if you listen to this episode on an audio only service, which you won't. So forget I said any of that. But always check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and YouTube
Mhm.
for all the main episodes, and only the bonus episodes are going to be only on YouTube, at least for the
Mhm.
time being, till we can
Yeah.
figure out some more things. But yeah, turn
All
us
right.
on. Let's listen to our listen to our ramblings. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again at the regular time next week.
Next week.